Crimson Desert is looking like it'll be one of the most interesting and visually impressive games on the horizon. We recently had a brand new gameplay trailer from opening night live at Gamescom, which you may have seen our reaction to on the channel already. However, you probably want to know the rundown of what's going on with this game, as it does look pretty crazy with some very flashy combat, large-scale battles, big open world environments, shape-shifting, hot air balloon riding, and even sky islands. So let's go through the details to get you up to speed. The game is being developed by the South Korean studio Pearl Abyss, the same team who you may already know for working on Black Desert Online, which although it isn't a game I'm currently playing anymore, it does have some very solid gameplay and some good class variety. But the new Crimson Desert was actually first announced at the Game Awards in 2020, and it was originally a prequel to Black Desert Online set within the same universe as it. It was also originally planned to be an MMO similar to Black Desert, but with single player and online multiplayer aspects to it. It has however since been changed to a fully single player open world action adventure RPG. The game doesn't have a solid release date set just yet, and it was essentially indefinitely delayed back in 2021. However, with the game being in development for several years now and this latest gameplay trailer dropping, people are speculating at a release sometime next year in 2024 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. I do think it's a good idea for games to be delayed in general if needed, as it usually ends up with a better and more polished, finished version of the game. And we know from that 2021 delay that it's allowed them to add in new, deeper ideas to make a more enriching game. If you're wondering about the story though, it's set in a war-torn realm of medieval fantasy where gritty realism precedes aesthetic beauty. The continent is called Pywell, and it's a divided and harsh region, with its inhabitants struggling to survive in the ever-changing lands. They say, quote, "From the vast plains of Akapen to the inhospitable cold lands of Kwaidan," I think that's how you say it, or the barren desert, each region possesses its own unique beauty. Each location will have its own unique character that is both fantastical and grounded in gritty realism, end quote. But for our player character, we're going to be playing as a mercenary, and we can lead a band of battle-hardened mercenaries with us. They say you won't be able to take on many threats that exist across the land alone, but you're in luck since you'll have a group of your own mercenaries to rely on. Within the land, the King of Domenis is in a coma, and as such a power vacuum is created, and those suffering under the king's rule seek to exploit this weakness. Some want to take the throne for themselves while others want to get free. So we are going to be traveling the world to form our own mercenary company, finding fighters and then earning their trust to have them join us. We already know there'll be a bunch of weapons from swords to axes, pistols to cannons, and we get to see a bunch of these in action within the new gameplay trailer, as well as various environmental objects to take advantage of, such as exploding barrels to topple enemy towers or blow up a group of soldiers. Among the trailer, we also got to see a lot of the open world itself, which looks pretty big in scope, with settlements, large forests, and mountains spanning the horizon that appear to be traversable. We can also see a town area with a bounty or quest board, similar to that in Witcher 3, and the quest they show is to find a missing sheep, which definitely looks like a lower level side quest. Furthermore, we can see a bunch of the combat in action from grounded to mounted, which mixes together melee attacks, ranged bow and arrow shots, as well as abilities mixed in such as this sweep attack. There's also a short clip of hijacking a cart and taking a horse to a stable, which suggests we can collect different horses for later use and then store them at the stable. We can even see later on in the trailer when a player is trying to tame a horse, similar to how you do in Zelda. We also got to see a quick snippet of them buying food from a vendor, which can be used as both a cooking ingredient but also to instantly be eaten for a stamina restoration effect. Fishing is in the game as well, which I know a lot of people will love, and you can pet or pick up animals, which was a highly requested feature back in Black Desert Online, so it's made its way into this game too. But we can also play instruments such as this flute, which has a bunch of rats following the player around. Maybe this is for a quest, or maybe we can just become the Pied Piper. One cool thing though is hot air balloons are also in this, which look like a really fun way to fly and explore the land. But perhaps this method is also used to reach the Sky Islands, which we have seen a bit of previously, but now we can see them more in depth in this new trailer. It looks like you can explore these Sky Islands freely, and even jump off them similar to how you can in the Sky Islands within Tears of the Kingdom, letting you freefall your way back down to the ground. There are also elements of Assassin's Creed style parkour climbing in this, as we can see the player sneaking into a castle room by climbing up the building on the outside, which definitely adds another layer of depth to the gameplay. On top of this, we can also see the player parkour climbing their way up a large ent, which looks pretty cool. There does also seem to be some kind of shadow companion, which makes me think of the one in Black Desert as well, but it has an ability to interact with objects from afar, like opening doors or exploding this big object. Another thing you might be pleased to hear is that gliding is in the game, but in its own unique way that looks very visually pleasing. We transform into some kind of shadow monster and then glide freely, which is definitely going to be a bunch of fun to do on some very high areas. There was also a bunch of fight encounters to take note of. Some battles have QTE events being triggered throughout that I am a bit iffy on. Meanwhile, there was also a boss fight against the Reed Devil where there seems to be a ton of shadow clones running around. And a giant dragon even appears in the trailer that looks to be mechanical if you look at it closely. I cannot wait to learn more about this one. But if you haven't seen this gameplay trailer for yourself, you definitely should check it out. So we're going to let it play out for you here.